Hi everyone, I hope that you have a very good Easter break. Welcome back to this week's class. In this short video, I'm going to talk about two things. And the first of all, I'm going to talk about the online quiz 2 and the online discussion 2 that you had complete last week. And then I'm going to introduce a little bit what you need to complete for this week. I did receive some feedback from the students, and they hope that I can go over the online quiz and also online discussion. So the first thing I'm going to do in this short video is I'm going to talk a little bit about the online quiz 2 and online discussions. For the online quiz 2, basically you're given 20 minutes to complete these 7 questions. We have some multiple choice questions, we have some short answer questions. Right, so let's look at this question very quick. The first questions. So which divisions within the NCAA has strict requirements in football attendance and football schedules? Obviously, these are very easy questions, right? Division 1 FBS school, they have strict requirements in terms of the football's attendance and the football schedules. So this is the right answer for question number 1. Question number 2. So which of the following statements incorrectly explain the association-wide structures and division-specific structures used in the NCAA? Right, the answer is every member's vote on each issues at the NCAA annual meetings. We talked about before NCAA classify all the institutions into 3 different divisions. So in the past, before 1973, at their annual meetings, every institution actually have 1 vote on all the issues they would discuss and talk about. After the older institution has been classified into 3 different divisions, so now the new structures under the new structure, there is like each conference will send representative and participate at the NCAA's annual meetings, and then each conference will have 1 vote, not each institutions have 1 vote, right? Because here it said each members, NCAA's members are those institutions, not the conference. Okay, so that's why this is the correct answer. These are incorrect statements to explain associations, wide structures, and division-specific structure that has been utilized by the NCAA right now at the moment. Question number 3 is also a very easy question, right? Which of the following division is not allowed to provide athletic scholarship to student athletes? The answer is Division 3 schools are not allowed to offer athletic scholarships to student athletes. Right? D1 school, they are able to offer scholarship and full ride scholarship. D2 school, they can offer scholarship but not in the full ride. So a lot of students, if they're competing at the D2 institutions, so they cannot get full scholarship, but they're more likely to get partial scholarships from the athletics and also partial scholarship from their academic performance. Right, so this is question number 3. Question number 4, the answer I provided was actually incorrect. So which of the following statements incorrectly describe about initial eligibility requirement in the NCAA? So the final correct answer is actually this one. Division 1 and Division 2 require students to complete 16 core courses with a minimum of 2.0 GPA. So the correct statement should be the D1 and D2 require students to complete 16 core courses with the minimums of 2.3 GPA. So this is the incorrect statements. Other statements are correct, right? So if you answer this one, I actually give you the point back, so you can go and chat on Canvas to see whether you have any question and issue on these questions. Question number 5, the mission for the NCAA Division 2 schools are encouraging participation and focusing on regional in-season and conference competition is a false, because this is the mission for D3 schools. Right, so those are the multiple choice question from the quiz 2. So question number 6 is actually very easy. They ask you to do the reading, the history behind the debate over overpaying the NCAA athletes. So in this reading, they did explain the 1984 Supreme Court decision has huge impact on college sports. One of the biggest impact, obviously, they shift the power from the NCAA to the conferences. So in the past, NCAA on behalf of all these members to negotiate these broadcasting contracts with these broadcasters. So after the Supreme Court rule this decision, now the all power is going back to the conference. So the conference has been spent, and a lot of big schools decided to join the big conferences, and the conference can leverages the broadcasting right with this broadcaster during the negotiations. So those are the biggest impact. Obviously, they also have a huge impact on a student athlete. They say student athlete can never be paid, and also they have huge impact on coaches athletes, coaches salaries. So coaches salary has been increased significantly. So this is question number 6. Question number 7 is from the PowerPoint slide. Right, so which strategy has been utilized by the NCAA to enhance the competitive balance in college sport? We talk about, first of all, they set the cap for the numbers of the scholarship offer to the school, and they also do not encourage students transfer from one school to another school in order to compete in sports. Right, they also putting together into different conferences. They also introduce a lot of different types of rules, like anti-doping rules, for instance. Right, so drug testing rules is also one strategy. They try to prevent athletes for using performance enhanced strategy to improve their performance. They will take advantages in the competitions. Okay, so this is about the second question. Any question? Please email me and let me know. So about the second case study online discussion I asked you to do, that was actually a real case study. This FCS school in Iowa. So they were actually thinking about, in order to comply with the Title IX, and we actually do need to add the new sport, women's sports. So there are a lot of discussions. I did complete grading your online discussion. Students come up with a lot of different great idea. A lot of students mentioned about we need to have softball. Some students mentioned about need to have a cross country. Some students did recommend beach volleyball, soccer, hockey. A lot of different types of idea. And a lot of students did a fantastic job in justifying why they chose these sports, why it's reasonable, right? Actually, in this case, so before they made these decisions, the athletic departments from that university survey the female students athletes and local high school female students and asked them about their interest. So after the survey, a lot of people recommended softball, and some people recommended rowing, swimming, lacrosse, skating. Right, so those are the sport that has been recommended by the local high school and also the female students in that universities. So before they make the final decision, so they have to go and calculate like how many scholarships each sport can bring in and how much cost associated with adding that particular sport. So at the very beginning, they were thinking about adding rowing to these athletic departments, right? Because rowing can actually bring more scholarship than any other sports they mentioned. But they find out the cost is extremely high, particularly the rowing team have to travel, the equipment is very high. If they practice, the practice cost is also very high. So eventually they decided to choose baseball, right? Because they make more sense for them to use the baseball because they do have a softball, because they have a baseball stadium, so they can use the baseball stadium to actually host this softball event. So the cost is low. But athletic departments also, when they contact the university, they want to make sure they have the budget at least 2 years in a row to make sure after adding that sport, they could, make sure the sport is able to be operated effectively for at least 2 years. So this is about this case study. I think a lot of you come up with a great idea. This is actually an exercise to help you to understand how you can make tough decisions in these kind of crucial moments if you were in the college sports. So this week, the second topic we're going to talk about in this short video is we're going to talk about what you need to do to complete this week's assignments. So again, you go to modules. So now we're actually in the last module, it's called Module 4. In the Module 4, we talk about sports governance in professional sports and international sports governing bodies. Right, so and this week, week 12, so we're going to talk about professional sports, governance in professional sports, right? So we're going to talk about professional sport in the United States, also talk about professional sport in Europe, so how those sport has been governed. So the cover topic we will talk about, the first of all, we're going to talk about what made professional sports league unique. We talk about one of the book published in 1980s is about league things. So what there are some of the interesting arguments from the books. We also introduce what is a closed league structures, what is a single entity structures. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the organizational structure. On that organizational structure, we're going to talk about commissioner, which is obviously the most powerful persons in a professional sports league. And then we're going to talk about board of the governor and league office. And in terms of competitive balance strategy has been utilized in professional sport, right? So in the US, we're using drafting, using salary cap, using revenue sharing, using a territory race. So those are the strategies. Right, and this week we're also going to talk about how professional sports league has been organized outside of the United States, particularly in Europe. We're going to talk about English Premier League, about their membership, league structures, and team structure. We talk about some transfer policies in European Soccer League, particularly Bosman ruling is a very important topics in that class. And then we're going to compare the similarities and differences between professional sports league in Europe and professional sports league in the United States. Okay, the readings is, again, textbook is the main source for you to complete. So textbook, I'm asking you to read 2 chapters, chapter 12 and chapter 13, and also these articles that explain why the European American sports were so different. It's actually very interesting read, about 20 pages. So you can go and read these readings and get some idea why in the US and Europe we organize sport completely differently. Here is a lecture videos. We have 3 videos for you to watch. Part 1, we talk about professional sports in the US, about history, about organization structures. Second, we'll talk about some of the policy area. The third video, we talk about professional sports league in Europe. Right here is the lecture notes. Right, so this one is for the first 2 videos, and this one is for the third videos. Right, the assignment you need to complete, first of all, is online quiz 3. So online quiz 3, again, I would strongly recommend you to finish watching the videos, the posts on Canvas, and the readings. Make sure you read the readings first before you start working on the online quiz 3s. Again, you have 20 minutes, about 7 questions, couple of multiple choice questions, and couple of show answer questions. Make sure you watch the video and also complete the reading before you start working on the quiz 3. And also online discussion 3, we're going to talk about MLS strategies. There's a case studies here I provided to you. Download the case study and answer the 3 questions. The requirements, again, your response need to be at least 3 paragraphs. Each paragraph answer each of the question, right? So at least you need to let me know that you answer 3 questions, right? You're not just answer 1 or 2 questions. So at least 300 words for each of your response. And at the same time, you need to read and respond to at least 2 students' posts. Each response is 50 words. Again, it happened very common. And last week, some students share their work on Canvas. That was fascinating and very good work, but they forgot to respond to another 2 students, so they lose the point. So if you really want to get these 20 points, make sure you provide a solid answer here, and also you need to respond to another 2 students' answers. And then now you'll be able to complete these assignments, right? So again, Wednesday is the deadline for you to post your thoughts. Friday is the deadline for you to respond to other students' the response. So this is a online discussion 3. Okay, so this is what you need to complete for this week. A little bit more reading compared to the last week, And but I think the topic is very interesting. Next week we're going to talk about in professional